Hi students, and welcome to week 4 in your online lifespan growth and development course. This week we will continue on studying about the first 2 years of the lifespan, but this week, this chapter will cover the psychosocial development. So we'll look at the social side of the first 2 years of life. So let's take a look here at your module. You have, here's your PowerPoint. You have another journal that is due. You've been doing such a great job on your journals. Journal number 1 really blew me away. I'll never really talk about you know, in general, just because I have promised your confidentiality and so forth with them. But I just want you to know I really appreciate them. You made me laugh, you made me cry, you made me celebrate, you made me sad, all the emotions with your journal number 1. So I love how deep you're digging and how reflective that process has been. So this week for journal number 2, let's click on it here. It will take you into thinking about your early childhood years. So I don't expect you, there's something called childhood amnesia. So I don't expect you to remember your first 2 years of life, but this journal will get you ready for what's to come in next week and the following weeks of where we start with early childhood. So think back to your childhood, your early childhood years. What's your earliest memory? How do you feel about that memory, significant events, etc. I realize that this may not be a pleasurable memory for everyone, so just, I don't want to cause anybody to get upset. My hope would be that everybody has a pleasant memory of your childhood, but I do understand that's not everybody's reality. So I hope that this journal doesn't upset you, but rather helps you to reflect back on that and think about those early childhood years. What would you change? How has that shaped you, right? I always tell my students, and it's part of my counseling practice, is that it's for anything that has happened to us in the past, it's part of our story. It has helped, that experience has helped shaped us into who we are today. So whether that's a positive or a negative experience, it's part of our story. And if it was a negative experience and you don't look back on your childhood as pleasurable, it's still part of what has made you who you are today. And I feel safe in saying you're all successful, you're all resilient, you're all doing amazing things. You wouldn't be in college if that were not the case. So I hope that that helps you to kind of frame that in a way that it's a helpful exercise for you. So work on that journal. Some questions that I had with journal number 1 that I'll just reiterate here is the length. I'm one of those professors, I really hesitate giving you maximum and minimum lengths. I just don't like the rules of that. But I know you need the guidance of about how long. So I always say your journal should be at a minimum about a page typed, double spaced. So regular size font. It can be as long as you want it to be. You may have a lot to reflect on. Journaling as I, shared with you some research of how productive journaling can be and how helpful it can be. It even increases your immunity and so forth. So if you need that and that's working for you, please feel to go as long as you want with your journal. I'll never not read it. I'll never think it's too long. I'll never penalize you for it being too long. On the same end, about a page is the guidance. And that is for, when I say journal number 2, I realize that's not just one question, right? There's like, what is your earliest memory? How do you think about it? What would you change? All of those that we just looked at, that all constitutes for journal number 2. So collectively, for all of those questions that are part of journal 2, about a page, not for each one. So I hope that clears it up. And that'll be for every single journal from here on out. You'll have a total of 4. So journal number 2, and then you have your chapter 4 quiz, okay? So those are the 2 assignments for this week. But I'm going to jump a little bit ahead here and have you start thinking about another assignment, okay? So those 2 are due this Sunday, September 18th. Looking ahead to week 5, not due until September 25th, you are going to have a replication study. And that replication study is of Piaget's study. Piaget was as a psychologist who studied the cognitive process, and he, is very famous for his studies. So you are going to just replicate. You're not coming up with your own Piaget study. You're just replicating a study that he did, okay? So you need to find a child approximately 2 to 7 years of age, somewhere in there, okay? The younger they are, the more likely they are to not have the preoperational skills yet. The older they are, you might see that preoperational skill. So there is in your book, and I've also given a YouTube example of this famous study that was done, so you'll know exactly how to do it. And you're going to just sit with a child and do that. Now you can do that face to face. You can do that. It's a little harder, but you can do it over video if that Zoom or FaceTime if that works for you. I hope that everybody has someone that they can use for this study. If you absolutely are just out of ideas of where to find a child to borrow between 4 and 7 years old, then reach out to me, okay? But hopefully you all have someone. If you have 2 to 7 is fine. Up here is where I say I'm being flexible, as to catch as many possibilities of age ranges as you can. So if they are, the ideal is 4 to 6 years old. That's where Piaget was, but I will accept anything from 2 to 7, and that gives you a larger age range to work with. So you will do that experiment with them. It's non-invasive. You're just showing them something and asking them a question or two. Again, this video and your book also lays that out. But here's what you need to do. Write down the child's age, exactly what you asked the child, what their responses were, and then the fourth question is, what stage of pre-operational thought do you feel the child is in based upon the experiment that you did with them, and then, support your answer. With the caregiver's permission, so maybe this is your own child and you're the caregiver and you can give the permission. Maybe it's a niece or nephew or a sibling or a neighbor, a friend's child. With permission, if you want to record you doing this with them, and then you can just, at the end of the video, let me know this information, you can do that and then just upload the video, and you don't have to type anything out. If you don't want to ask for permission, or you don't feel comfortable with video, or the parent doesn't feel comfortable with video, you don't have to do that. You can simply just, record this information, type it out, and upload that. So whatever works for you. Again, it's not about the formatting or length or anything with this. It's simply you've had practice with a Piaget experiment and you have gone through and answer these questions and show me that you understand what Piaget was getting at with his preoperational thought and his conservation of liquids experiment. So again, not due until I need to change that, I think. It is not due, or is that the right date? Yep, September 25th, that's correct. Sorry, I was thinking the 28th. That's because I was thinking of the 18th. So your assignments are due September 18th for this week. But I am just going ahead and talking about Piaget, so you have a couple of weeks to find a child and to plan out and organize, that assignment so that it's coming. If you have any questions, if you need any help, if you are struggling to find a child of that age, let me know. Have a great week, everybody, and I look forward to reading another journal from you. Take care.